All right, good afternoon here, Quintus Curtius, and welcome back to Fortress of the Mind. And this podcast today is going to be about reopening closed chapters of your life. Reopening closed chapters. And this is basically going to be answering an emailed question I got last night from a reader, very nice guy here. Let me read his email, and then we can talk about the subjects that it prompts. So he starts out with some nice words to me. I appreciate that. Basically, he says, "My question relates to a dilemma I'm currently facing. This is creating a huge divide in my mind. I've recently been contacted by a former lover/girlfriend who I've not heard from in years. We were together in 2016-17, and the relationship was intense, unforgettable, and almost life-changing. I know everyone wants to be alpha, indifferent, and all that, but some women just touch your heart in a deep way." Okay, this was one of those cases. We were in love with each other, but we're very different people. Main difference is she was very extroverted and I'm very introverted. The relationship fell apart, eventually due to some infidelity on her part. Okay, I broke up with her, although she begged me not to. I would not allow such behavior, and she was very I would not allow such behavior and was very hurt and pissed off at the time. The breakup was sort of a spiritual death for me, and letting go of her was a huge difficulty because I still loved her, but in the end I knew what I needed to do. It took time to heal the wounds, blah, 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 blah. We had cut off all contact. He moved on with his life, and, he said that every now and then he'd have some pangs of regret, but, then he says, just out of the blue, she emails me a long text, basically in response to an email that he sent 2.5 years ago. He was shocked. He thought he'd closed the chapter. And basically in the email, she's saying that she still misses him. And the email brought up all these old feelings, and it brought back a desire on his part to catch up with her. And he says he lost sleep thinking about it. He says in her email, she asks lots of questions about me, talks about our past together, gives her perspective on the failure of the relationship, tells me she never forgets me, regrets nothing, and she wants to catch up. Since receiving the email about a week ago, half of me wants to respond to her, delve into our past history together, which undoubtedly is a piece of me in a way, reconnect with her. But on the other half of my mind, it's saying, look, man, you've dealt with this already. Don't go there. You're doing great now. Why reopen this closed chapter? So he's caught between this desire to experience the nostalgia and this internal desire to close a unsuccessful chapter of his life. But the end of the email here has got a pretty good sentence. Let me read that. He says, "I was rereading The Art of War, Sun Tzu, the other night, and there was a passage that struck me. It goes something like this. There are roads that should not be followed, armies that should not be attacked, cities that should not be besieged. Maybe this is a road I ought not to follow. I would love to hear your thoughts on this dilemma, to answer or not to answer." And he says he's 29 years old. All right. So that's the frame. That's the situation. That's where this guy is. So that's the situation we have. He's got a guy. We have obviously a very thoughtful, emotional type dude, a very reflective guy, intelligent dude. He's 29 years old. He broke up with a girlfriend who meant a lot to him a couple years ago, or maybe 3 years ago, I guess it was. And suddenly out of the blue, she's reconnecting with him. All right. Thoughts. Well, here are my thoughts. There's an old saying, and I don't know who said it. Maybe it was a friend of mine who said it, or maybe it was me who said it. I don't remember. But there's an old saying that says, if a girl is an ex-girlfriend, there's usually a very good reason why she's an ex-girlfriend. I'll repeat that. If a girl is an ex-girlfriend, well, there's usually a pretty damn good reason why she's an ex-girlfriend, and it's very easy to forget that. It's very easy to forget that because when you do invest a lot of time and a lot of emotional energy and, things like that, you're going to have built up a reservoir of emotional capital. you're going to have this be a part of your life. I get that. We've all been there. I've been there. You've been there. Everyone's been there. But at the same time, it's very easy to forget all the bad times that come with that. All of the unhappiness, the pain, the manipulation, the games, the unsuitability between the two of you. And the mind has a way of making you recall the good things. And yet the mind also has a way of suppressing the bad things. So we tend to look back with undue favor on past relationships, maybe because our minds play tricks on us. Our minds play tricks on us. There's a very good scene in the movie Sideways. You may remember that came out about 10 years ago. It was about two guys that take a trip through California wine country. There's a very good scene where these two guys are sitting they're going on a double date with these two girls, and one of them can't get over the loss of his ex-wife, and one says to the other, the Miles character, the character played by I can't remember what his name is, but the guy, the movie character is Miles, is the guy's name. And Jack says to Miles, have you forgotten how bad Gloria used to make you feel? How, isn't that why you cheated on somebody else isn't that why you cheated on her with someone else in the first place? Anyway, the point is that our minds have ways of emphasizing the good and de-emphasizing the bad. And this is a good thing. This is I think a good thing. The human mind has a way of self-preservation. This is a way of banishing emotional distress and putting it in a very secure compartment so that we're not afflicted by it. So this is what the mind does. And this can give you a skewed perspective, an unbalanced perspective. And that's what I think happens a lot in many of these cases. And we tend to forget the immediate pain or the legacy of pain, so that when a girl, an ex-girlfriend reaches out to us, suddenly we remember, saudade de você, sinto muito a sua falta, I miss you, I really need you a lot, I really miss you, blah, 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 blah. Then a lot of guys will fall for that. And let me be a little bit even more brutally realistic here, okay? There's usually a reason when a girl reaches out to you, an ex-girlfriend like that, who first of all cheated on you and, I don't want to say humiliated you, but let's face it, she was less than kind. And when a girl reaches out to you like that after a couple years, there's usually a good reason on her part. There's usually a very mercenary reason for it. It's usually because something has gone bad with her other boyfriend that she was with, and she wants to now reestablish you and have you come back for round two. You got punched out in round one, and now she wants you to come back for round two. And it's characteristic abusive behavior in many ways. I mean, maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe abusive is not the right word, but maybe I'm not. Because women can be very, very manipulative. Well, both men and women can be manipulative, but in affairs of the heart, this is where women really excel in this sort of thing. And you have to be on your guard, because if she's trying to reach out to you and reestablish contact, there's usually a very selfish reason for it. It's not nostalgia, believe me. Women do not get nostalgic about, they're not like men. They don't get altruistic, romantic illusions years after breakups with ex-boyfriends. It doesn't happen. They move on. The real reason is probably she wants something. She wants something from you, either emotional or financial or a combination of both. And you're the rebound guy. You're the backup guy. You're the rebound guy. Look, it's painful to hear this. I'm not insulting you. This is the way it is. This is unfortunately the way the world works. And once you've been around a little bit, you've stepped a few rungs on the ladder higher than the younger guys, you tend to see a little bit farther. That's not that we're any better than you. It's just that we just have seen more of the scams come down the pike. You follow what I'm saying? So this is what you need to be on guard. She wants something, and she's toying with you. She's toying with you, and if you want my opinion, there's nothing wrong with reestablishing contact, keeping it confined to a friendly, hey, let's catch up. How is this? Is interesting. You live in how's life going in wherever you're at? How's your life? How's your job? How's things going? You can keep it very, very, very friendly. That's nothing wrong with that. But do not go back for round two. That's my advice. Do not go back. Going back would be a mistake. You would regret it. Anytime you try to reconnect with an ex-girlfriend, I think for any reason, especially after a long period of time has gone by, it's never a good idea. It's never a good idea. And again, it goes back to the reason. If she's an ex-girlfriend, there's a reason that she's an ex. Exes have reasons for being exes. So don't forget that. You're just going to be jerked around. And, honestly, what you would do is you go out with her and, you may even reconnect on some intimacies level, but then you're going to be like, you're going to look over at her and you're going to be like, what the hell am I doing here? What the fuck am I doing here? What am I wasting my time with this person for? And then all the bad things are going to come back. And so don't do that. Please don't do that. You can't recreate the past. You can't reconnect with the past, because in this case, the past, that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist anymore. You were betrayed, man. Get over it. You were betrayed. Move on. And as harsh as that may sound, you know that I'm right. You know that I'm right. Deep down, you know. And the reason why you reached out to me was for reaffirmation of this impulse that you had, which happened to be the correct impulse. Do not go back. All you're going to do is set yourself up for more bullshit, more abuse, and for round two. So don't do that. Now, I know there's always going to be listeners out there. There's always going to be people that are going to say, but wait, Quintus, how can you say that? My friend Vinny Ciccarillo, he got back with his girlfriend and they were split up and they're happy and everything and blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. That's fine. There's always going to be some anecdotal evidence about this or that or the other thing. And my response to that would be, yeah, so what? I'm not Vinny Ciccarillo. And neither are you. And, I'm not trying to cast any aspersions on anybody, but you got to move on. If just because some other knucklehead decided to prostrate himself and go back to abuse and to humiliation at the hands of some chick who cheated on him, doesn't mean that you have to do that. Don't do it. Have some self-respect. Have some pride. I mean, that's the thing that was with so many of these guys today, is everybody is willing to just take abuse. Sometimes you got to walk away. Sometimes you tell me, honestly, you're better off being alone half the time than being with these fucking dunces. I swear to God, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth the price you pay in your emotional. The corrosive emotional effect that this stuff has on you, the time that you waste, the money that you waste. Find new pastures, find new women, find new opportunities, move on. Now again, I'm not saying that you should completely ignore this person. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with hello, how are you, catching up. You may even find that you may find that she might be an interesting person to talk to for whatever. I don't want to say the word friendship, because I think there's some problems there. I don't think you can really ever be friends with a girl without sort of the sexual tension element lurking in the background, in the same way you can be friends with a man. But you never want to close the door. You never want to slam the door in people's faces. I mean, there's no point. What you certainly don't want to do is don't do this amateur bullshit of chewing her out and exploding on her and dressing her down and saying, nobody cares. You never yell at people. You never chew people out like that. Be friendly, be polite, but keep a distance. Keep an emotional distance. She'll understand, believe me. She'll pick up on it in 5 seconds. She'll believe me, she'll understand. So those are my thoughts. those are my thoughts here on the issue of reopening closed chapters. So think about it. And until next time, I'm Quintus Curtius. Good night.